A very good afternoon to all of you. I'm so glad to be here with such a renowned leaders listening to Professor Banerjee about mother leadership. It gave me a different energy altogether and took me to my classroom sometime back for MBA. So now, when we are here in session 2, we have very important and interesting topic to discuss, which is HR operations, optimizing HR operations, driving efficiency, agility, and employee experience, basically in digital era. So everything is digital, right? And it is now and here with us in front of using generative AI in every bit of work that we do. And this is what our major focus would be also for today's discussion. But before I move to this important topic, I would like to introduce my esteemed panel members here, okay? So we have Mr. Shiv Rawat with us. He's basically from V-Trans Group of Companies, Group CHRO, and with nearly 3 decades of experience, he's been driving HR transformation across different industries. And he's a renowned leader, basically honored by Influencer of the Year in 2023 by Financial Express, and Most Fabulous HR Leader by ET, and HR Leader Awardee by GPTW Forum. So these are amazing professional accolades that Mr. Shiv Rawat has received. Other than that, you would be very exciting to know that he's running a YouTube channel which says, Shiv Rawat Chain of Life. And he has there 2,000 different videos talking about life and talking about leadership insights in terms of how you can use your wisdom on day-to-day basis, right? So that's amazing, Shiv. Yeah. Then, yes, please, one round of applause. Then we have Mr. Sanjeev Muramkar. He's from, I would say, Dr. Sanjeev Muramkar. He's already a PhD, and he's from Adani Electricity, leading CHRO. Sanjeev brings 2 decades of rich experience with him, and his PhD, who is deep interest into organizational behavior and people science. Sanjeev is just steering, boardrooms in as simple as he's steering different interests in his life. So he's marathon runner, he's a tracker, and he's a cyclist. And very interesting piece, which you all will be inspired also, he is tracked to Everest Base Camp as well. A big round of applause for Sanjeev. How do you do that? And we have Vivek Jain with us. He's from BSc, Chief of Staff. With him, he has 30 years of experience in HR landscape. And he's actually hit the target, literally, I would say. So he's a 10-meter, 10-meter air pistol shooter he is. A big round of applause for Vivek as well. So my name is Minakshi Uniyal, and I represent a company called BYLD Group. We are majorly into HR productivity solutions for our company. And as our topic, I myself got 20 years of experience in HR domain. And this topic is very interesting in our day-to-day life. I feel this topic is basically connecting all the dots. So it's like the thread for the garland, So where we are HR operation optimization when we talk about, so we are bringing everyone, all the HR gamut topics that we talk about is basically connecting HR operations together. So now I'm moving to our topic immediately, and I have a question for Shiv, So Shiv, which HR processes have you successfully automated? What impacts that had on efficiency and employee experience?
Thank you, Minakshi, for a wonderful introduction. And good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful tea break, and we are yet to have. Before you get into anything, you have to prepare yourself, right? And then once you're done, you're relaxed enough to take care of yourself. The topic which we are talking about today is about the HR operations. And I was thinking when I was sitting there, the HR operations belongs to whom? It is benefiting employees or it is benefiting the employer? So what's the answer? It's benefiting employee or it's benefiting the employer? Employer? Employee? So, 50-50 maybe could be the answer. And when the AI comes into the picture, when the digitalization comes into the picture, then again, when it comes to employer, the cost becomes important. But when it comes to employee, the experience becomes important, right? And then it all depends on the HR, that how they are going to project in front of the management, that how it is going to help benefit, both in the organization. Specific to the question, there are so many things which can be digitized. But recently, I did one, processes where I thought either it is helping the organization as well and also helping to the employees as well, which is related to your financial things, right? And since I represent logistics, been 30 years with the logistic industry. Prior to VTrans Group, I was with the DTDC Express for almost 27 and a half years. I started as trainee and then I reached and then I left. Almost 18 months with the VTrans Group. The kind of people, the kind of talent we deal it, you must be understanding when you get into a logistics space. We have to think about the employee experience, right? So recently we went for a financial things in our company. We used to disburse loan because every organization must be having those processes. But in that processes, you have reason that why you need the loan, why you need a salary advance, why, whether do you have the certificates available, or there are some parameter and criteria is also available that if you have medical certificate, then only you will get the loan, right? If you have education details, then only you will get it. And then you have multiple processes, multiple layer of approvals to get into, although you have a policy laid down, but still the approval goes in, right? And when company release the money, there are a lot of things also attached to it. And when we see other side of the story about the employees who wanted to get into the loan part of it or salary advance part of it, you will agree that 15 तारीख आते आते पूरी salary साफ हो जाती है, right? So how to deal with it? And then what happens? The employee goes to lenders, they get the money, 18%, 20%, 30%, 40%, wherever way, whichever way they used to get it. Or they will approach to the organization to give your details. So we immediately went into with the partnership and we allow people to take their salary in seconds. So within second, मतलब 4 दिन हुआ है मुझे launch किए हुए and 50 lakhs rupees already gone. So you can see that how employees are taking it, the kind of experience they are having, the kind of, touched their life we have touched somewhere else, So that is the process which immediately we did, and I thought it's a recent one to share with.
Very good one. I think 50 lakhs is already taken in 2 days, right? Wow, that's a big number. So Sanjeev, I'm moving to you with the same question that, how you are doing it successfully and what kind of impact it is having on employee experience.
Good afternoon, everyone. So Minakshi, when you approached me with this HR operations topic, I felt, this is very off the shelf kind of. But I later realized that this is very important. And as you rightly said, that this is like a thread in a garland which connects all the dots in the employee life cycle, right from application to the exit of employee. And being in my early 50s, I realized when I joined what HR ops used to be and what HR ops is today. Because most of the people of my age can connect with what I'm saying. On the day one, we used to go with a bundle of certificates and mark sheets and papers to our employer and sit there for few hours handing over those papers. And now, from that record-keeping role of HR, there was a step 2, which also I have undergone, that was a digital. You know, there were the scanners all over the office, and while you hand over those scanner papers, our employers or HR team used to scan them. And then there was a digital era, and now the strategic digital and AI era we are into. Lots of changes in last 20 years, what I have seen, I have experienced. Coming to your question, what one change, or we have automated in my particular organization, there is a chain of series. We have gone to a paperless HR operations, not a single paper. Neither you have to submit, neither you have to sign, nor you get any paper in return. Everything is digital. So what I call the ecosystem, the tech ecosystem at Oracle, I call it as OCQA. O stands for Oracle, C stands for Comport, Q stands for Quest to Travel, and A stands for AllSec. So your entire HR operations is managed through Oracle Fusion, right from your application, your shortlisting, your interview feedback, your talent management, your induction, your IGPs, your IDPs, everything is managed through Oracle Fusion. Back and at the front, it is connected with these systems, what we call as Quest to Travel. So all our travel, all our reimbursements, just a few years back when we used to travel, we used to sign all the bills, Xerox them, submit it to the HR, and then different slip used to come to us. Now everything is transformed at Adani. The money reimbursement comes to you via Quest to Travel, and it is paid to you via your Comport. So entire chain of HR operations from point A to point Z is automated, and I'm witness to it very, very closely.
Great. So as you said, OCQA, and A stands for all set. So all set, we are moving to a next question. Vivek, over to you. Can you share an example where Agile HR practices help your organization respond better to a crisis or a change in your journey?
Yeah, thank you. I represent Bombay Stock Exchange and BSE, that is, a place where we call ourselves as market intermediaries, a place where information and the transaction of information becomes the key driver for anything that you're doing. Having said that, I just want to continue with what Sanjeev said right now in terms of the transformation of HR ops that we have seen over these many years. And I just want to continue on that line and say that just imagine that an employee is changing jobs every 2 to 3 years, and the graduation certificate goes to Bombay University again and again and again for verification, which is BGV verification. And the times are not far away where the whole verification process moves between companies, everything being in cloud, rather than moving between being independently held. So this is a funny situation that we are in. HR ops is one of the first disruptors that machine learning, AI, deep learning has taken over. Coming to the question that you're asking is on agility. I have a slightly flipped issue over here because the amount of agility that market intermediaries or capital markets friends over here who are from the capital markets would relate to what I'm saying. You are on the toe continuously. Any information that is market related, any information that disrupts changes, any circular from regulators, it continuously requires you to be agile on a day-to-day, minute-to-minute basis. That is what we are dealing. However, as soon as you get into a rigid structure of, sorry, I am saying Oracle or any of the other processes or automation processes that you get into, you finally end up into some structure and some method. And you lose your agility of driving what you want to do when the situations of crisis comes in. Typically, many organizations have adopted HRMS systems, policies, processes, which are inbuilt in-house, so that you are able to have that agility to deal with situations very quickly. You are able to move forward, make decisions very quickly. Whether it is the case, as an example I am saying, whether it is the case with the recent attacks that we have happened, you actively, very quickly move to a tabletop exercise. Places like ours, you have to simulate situations and continuously deal with it. I joined BSc recently, and I was so interested to see that, like we do role plays in HR, over there you continuously do simulation of activities and incidents that could be possibly be there. And then how do you handle it, how do you tackle it as an ongoing activity. So the agility and posturing into a fixed structure are two extreme ends that I'm referring over here. One has to decide as an organization where you want to be, and then decide how do you take the automation journey earlier, right?
Great. Thank you so much. I think this company is moving through a lot of, and not just HR operations, but other part of businesses also, moving to that area. Okay, so I'll take Sanjeev again on your view that, Sanjeev, how are you using data or feedback loops to continuously improve your employee experience in across HR touchpoints?
So feedback, as we all know, is a mechanism of improvement. But I always feel that along with feedback, there is something called feed forward, right? So if you really want to improve the process, you should have data well in hand before you start the process. And that feed forward, we call it as customer expectations. How do we gather customer expectations? Let me give you a small example, which is a part of HR operations. So, we have thousands of GTs joining us every year. And these GTs are typically from a remote part of a country, coming from a smaller cities. They really don't know what life in metro cities is like. And there is a huge amount of anxiety amongst the parents, amongst the guidance, the people who are their guiding forces. So what we do is, through technology, we try and reach out to them and solve their questions, their problems, their questions related to life in bigger cities, what challenges they will face. And through that feed forward, we try and make the life easy of a new joiners. You may consider it as a feedback or a for us, it's a feed forward. And believe in me that we have made life easy of thousands of people with these kind of processes. We try and reach out to them. And on top of that, every process has a feedback. May it be your day one, how was your interview process? We ask our candidates about it. May it be your induction, we ask candidates, and not as a part of employee engagement. That's a separate exercise altogether, because that cannot address the nitty-gritties of each process. When it comes to employee engagement, you can hardly ask 20, 25 questions, not beyond that. But if you want to really improve the process, each process has to be deep dived and expectations need to be understood, and we have to go back and see whether we have addressed all those anxieties and expectations. So when I said our Oracle Fusion platform, our Comport platform, our payroll platform, our travel platform, everywhere where you will find this feedback and feed forward mechanism incorporated. And we are going a step forward on incorporating machine learning and AI tools on these platforms so that the customer our own employee is taken care of.
Great. Thank you so much, Sanjeev. Shiva, a question to you. So, if you can give me an example where agile practices help your organization respond to better crisis.
Okay. So when it comes to agile, as an individual also, it matters a lot. Agile is something that how quick you can change, quick you can adopt the things, right? And as I said in my introduction, that I've been with one company for 28 years. Moving from 28 years to a new company, it's an agile process. So you have to get into the details and you have to understand and accommodate or change accordingly. Agility, I'm sure all of you, those who are sitting here, must have seen during COVID, so many things has happened, and COVID was the era when it has taught every one of us. Whether it was a traditional organization working from office, shifting immediately from office to work from home was a big chapter, and people were not aware that how to deal with it. People were saving life for themselves, but HR was working behind to see that how everybody can work from home. That was one of the process which got changed, right, and impacted a lot. Either it is shifting of the systems or giving them connectivity, ensuring that they work day, night, whatever, right? Apart from this, if I still remember every 2 hours the policy and process was getting changed during COVID. And I still remember it was at 12 o'clock in the night when we slept after a call. And around 12:30 or 1 o'clock, I got a call from my colleague, please wake up. There is a executive call to be happen and please come and join the Zoom. So I have to move from my room and then get into another room to see that how we can make the changes so that we have less impact of COVID and our organization can move forward. In HR processes, the onboarding, engagement, training, when we launched a training app during that period, 18-19 for example, and when we were in 2020, the maximum user were there in 2020. Then people started utilizing it, right? They understood without this nothing is going to happen. Anything is going to come, it is going to come in this only. So people started, moving towards. So COVID, either it was from employees end or it was employer and it was a learning era where a lot of processes got changed. Seconds mein process change हुए. And I, as a individual, was also happy to see that we also changed along with others.
Great. I think that's a great example. Adoption actually happened during COVID time, a big this thing. So now I have a question for Vivek. Vivek, as we move forward, what do you think the next big disruption in HR operation will be?
This is interesting. Anybody's guess of what would be the way I am seeing this is that everything moving, and I just touched in the starting also, that everything moving to cloud, I think the transfer of data between companies will become more seamless. Currently, the whole process of nomination, all record keeping, DGV verification, medical records, every company when there is a change in hand of the employee, it has to be done, redone, and again redone. I think, and we have to get into so much of authentication issues and filling up issues. I think as we see this in the future, a lot of data will be common data. It is similar to a civil record where historic data is being maintained across, or it is similar to the medical records that the government is today working upon, or the skill inventory that the government, I'm part of CII National Committee, so we are working on a skill directory on every individual, every person who starts from the graduation onwards. So the fungibility of these processes will become smoothless as we proceed. And hence the importance of the HRMS system will continue to diminish, is my sense. Today we harp on a particular HRMS, I think that will become not relevant. HRMS will just be a data house, and the data migration will be seamless across organizations. Of course, there will be a lot of use of machine learning and deep learning in the whole process. Having said that, I just want to make one interesting point that my realization has been that as HR, if you will continue to see reasons, I'm just giving an example. If there's an exit that has happened and we are looking at why the person has exited, and we'll have 10 dimensions on which we are looking at why a person is exiting, I think we are failing in our effort. Fundamentally, the machines have taken over now. To define why a person is leaving, there could be 20 dimensions, 30 dimensions. And because of the agility involved, the machine is learning continuously why people are leaving. And hence, any system or any HR agenda which is driving that these are the 10 items that I have identified, I'm assuming to be correct because of which my people are leaving, is flawed fundamentally. So I think the machines are taking over. You just give them the outputs, you give them the inputs, and the machine will know why there is a correlation between the input and output. One doesn't have to define what we call as dependent variables, independent variables, since Sanjeev is a PhD, and try to find causal relations over here. The machines will have capability to deal with it. Often people wonder, where is the data? Where is the big data? Where is data? But today we have so much of Panda directories out there, and other directories which are there through which the training of your system can be done very easily. So this is the transformation it is happening. I think the future will be that there will be more common systems on HR operations rather than company-specific systems as we proceed.
Wow, I think that's very food for the thought today, that how nowadays people not even staying with the organization for 2 to 3 years. So how the data is moving from one company to another company, the dependency on the outside world will be lesser. It will be more on, on the cloud, and companies can just directly log in there and see whether that employees, where they have what kind of experience, the background verification you mentioned. That would be a amazing change to see. Okay, so I have a similar question for Sanjeev. Next big disruption in HR operation, what that would be?
I will continue with what Vivek has said, and add on to it that the next big disruption, of course, all of us have the similar answer on their mind that AI, machine learning, blockchain will be, like a storm coming into. And what will HR ops be like? HR ops, from being reactive, the entire perspective would be now proactive. Nowadays, our top performers, when they put in the paper, then we all get, the high alert and the siren start blinking, and we have all the mechanism in place in arresting and, retaining that employee. But with the help of AI, machine learning, and all the tools what we are having in place, I think that would be the biggest change. You need to understand what is going to come next rather than waiting for the event to happen and then get into the event and see how can I can do something about it. Another example, what is next coming? I think the role-based. Now you have all our UJRs and job description and all those things. I think the next big thing which is coming is from role-based to skill-based. We need to map our skills and see which jobs are more relevant in the coming era. I think these two things are the most important. There are several things which are going to come, but yes, through employee and employer perspective and HR perspective, we need to attend these 2 or 3 things as quickly as possible.
That's good. So Sanjeev, you just mentioned about that what kind of data we input and we get the output, whether it is employee experience, what kind of information, and in terms of how we will take actions. It's more like a role and skills mapping that we are talking about, which is of course part of HR business partner. So HR operations, it will be lesser and it will be more of HR business partner is what I understand.
More of a strategic now.
Yeah, strategic now, right. That's true. That's true. So Shiv, a similar question to you, what is that one next big disruption you think in the HR operation will be?
See, I am not AI, so I can't predict. But what I can speak about basis of my experience, what is happening, right? disruption is everywhere. One day morning, you get to know about someone, your colleague, friends, that subah utha hi nahi. He was fit, and suddenly happened something. What are you going to do with this? Similarly, when it comes to organization as the individual, when AI came in, when things came in, people started thinking कि क्या होगा अभी? But when it comes to pure disruption in terms of human resource and what I can visualize, or you can consider it as my wish list, that today when we do appraisal one-to-one, sitting with the people, right, we do also have a human touch. And then we do also have certain feedback from colleagues, friends, bosses, here and there. And then basis of that, we take decisions. Although we have data available, we have target. If the targets are assigned, still today the KPI is an issue for every organization. We do talk about KPI, KRAs, but still people are confused with the KRAs and KPI, the difference between the KRA and KPI. Although KPIs are available, but still we go with the behavioral, aspect of decisions. We go with, with our padosi or friends and get to know about the things, right? So today when we do these things, maybe tomorrow when the AI will come with the big bang more, maybe appraisals are done with the AI only. In that perspective, no human touches are required, because everything is set, everything is processed. You achieve your KPI, you get some behavioral aspect. Today, even though when you get into a social media, you scroll one, within a second, the same things comes in, right? The similar thing may come into an organization when you start scrolling something, people, AI may say, oh, this guy has an interest in the operation instead of HR. So give him more HR or operation input, right? So I'm thinking that maybe that may come and it may help human resource people to take the right decision when it is required. But ultimately, end of the day, it all depends on the individual, what he or she is looking for.
Very true. So basically, as Sanjeev said, you quote those third, that role-based and skill-based, where one can easily move to another role and AI can help us do that. So we don't have to put any perception to it that whether person can do it or not do it, right? So with that note, we also have some time scarcity. So I would like to open this to our audience here for a question. So may I have the mic with the audience, please? There's a question.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My question to all the three gentlemen is, in your journey of migration from legacy systems onto SaaS or PaaS-based platform like Oracle Fusion or Workday or SAP, how did you all deal with the issue of data privacy, which is on-prem versus cloud-based infrastructure? A. B, what's your current PUPM and whether it is achieve the objectives and the economies of scale from a cost point of view? Would love to have your insights since you all have really implemented these systems. But these are really the metrics where the CFO and the bean counter and the CEO saying, hey, great stuff, we've done all this, but A, do I still have complete control over the data, or it's sort of shoved away into a cloud and therefore I lose privacy, compromised? B, what's the PUPM and whether it's achieved the economies of scale? Thank you so much.
Thank you. Who wants to take PUPM? Could you please explain that?
PUPM stands for per user per month. It's a metric of cost, right? When you buy a license or software, end of the day, depending on the number of employees, what's your PUPM? And that should sort of completely outweigh the disadvantages of the legacy system, whether that's been achieved.
Right. So data production and cost optimization is what we want to hear from our panel speakers. Who wants to take that?
Okay, so let me go first. You have spoken about the data privacy. I don't think these days it is the old gen thing that, data privacy is so much of a concern. Of course, there are attacks have grown multiple times as compared to last decade. I don't remember those numbers, but yeah, the systems, processes, and when we sign the DOA or the contract with all these people, as an HR person, I may not have a perfect knowledge in terms of, or a technical knowledge in terms of how the data is secured. I will be candid about it. But when we sign the contract with all the vendors, there is a huge penalty on the data part. So we ensure that data privacy is taken care. Coming to a per person.
Sanjeev, sorry, the question is, are you on-prem or are you on cloud?
Now everything is on cloud.
Everything is on cloud.
Yes.
See, it's not old. There are still concerns, especially employee database is more expensive than your credit card database.
Of course, it is. I
therefore,
understand.
the risk mitigation processes, what were they? If there are no concerns, great, good for you. But the best of systems have been hacked. And employee data is the most vulnerable. But if you've signed a good DOA, that's fine. But whether there were any challenges on that?
Yeah. Let me try to answer you. 64-bit encryption is what is working on right now. There are 3 layers of defense systems that are there which get activated. Ethical hacker is a professional degree nowadays. There are full-fledged CISO departments. In our places, it is like 60, 70 people, that large a CISO department that we have. Continuous tabletop exercises of what could be a potential data theft attack is there. Of course, the decision, if you can operate, if you have a system which is not updating, not upgrading itself, you can have an on-prem. That is a decision that one takes. Typically, the finance systems, we find they are more stable and they remain on-prem. Fortunately for us in HR, we are still very young. Our processes are still evolving. AI is disrupting whatever we knew earlier. And hence, being on cloud is more preferred because whoever vendor you are working with, as they upgrade, you don't have to upgrade when you're on the prem. So I think there is a fair level of work that has happened. The only answer to whether it is still working is audits. There is continuous quarterly audits which has to be done in terms of understanding whether there is a leakage possible. Any data, I'm saying whether it is employee data or any other data, this is the method. Yeah, you want to answer the second question? Yeah. I'll be more creative in answering that. My first answer is, it is as, first is what is the cost to benefit ratio? That is a simple exercise. What is the cost of running whatever HRMS you have in-house? There is a cost. There's a cloud cost, there is manpower cost, there is maintenance cost, there is n number of costs, which you can clearly articulate and find out. And obviously the technical aspects of what you're doing versus what you're trying to aspire. So I think there is a number that we can come to. Our sense is that unless you have a strong HR orientation in the organization, it is better to have professionals who deal with it. And hence, giving it out is better, even if there's an additional cost. Having said that, our understanding is that the cost of in-house is higher than giving it outside. What is the value of PU, PM that you're mentioning? I'm just leaving that thought that it is purely on your negotiation, how well you're able to negotiate with the vendor. I think I've seen all variations of cost in my career.
Is there any market standards or maybe industry specific?
Absolutely not.
So it's all horses for courses?
Absolutely. I'm saying even if you take Oracle or SAP or any one of them, it is dependent upon variations, what you're trying to do. And of course, there are a lot of variations between organizations also that you can fix any cost.
Sure. Thank you.
Very true. Any more questions? I will take one more question because we are also given a cut short that we need to finish this. So we'll take one more question and then you can connect with offline with the panel members. Yeah.
So before you take the question, I'll just add on the question which he has asked for. I will just give a very general perspective. I'm not a technology guy, but the traditional mindset today with the legacy, if you go, it is very hard to share the data as well. it is very hard to share. Even the company running with so many years, right? They still feel that whether that giving a data to outside, putting in a cloud, how secure it is. Yes, there are securities and other things, but still when it comes to mindset, it's still a question mark.
And you know, there are specific training modules which are given to all the employees. There are, you know, drills which are actually done on data security amongst the employees. So our own IT teams floats the mail and see how many people get entangled in the trap in terms of, you know, various credit card
phishing
frauds,
emails that
phishing emails, and things as such. And then again go back and train the people. That's how it happens, at least in places where I have been working.
That's true. Cybersecurity trainings, basically, we are talking about. So we have one more question. May I have your name and then you can have the question.
Sure. Good afternoon. My name is Megha. I have a question for the panel. According to you, what skills should HR professionals pick up for us to be future ready?
See, skills, though, you can go and Google it, you will get the answer. Okay.
I wanted to
AI will answer
understand
that to you.
But-
directly from you all.
Yeah, so we can only talk about our experience, right? When it comes to individual, right? When we talk about the future of HR, when you talk about future of work, it all depends on what kind of mindset you are currently, right? If you have a mindset, ठीक है, future में क्या करना है, I will do this, then you don't require any skills, right? If you decide कि, okay, the future is going to be this, and I want it to change, if you can develop that skill first, changing your mindset, agility, right? Then all you can adopt for skills. We can talk about you go and have technology skills, you can have communication skills. That is not going to help us until your mind is set for that future.
To continue with what Shiv has said, you know, competencies and skills anyone can share, but the mindset is very important. And these days when I interact with people, they are very much worried about the skills and competencies of the future. One input for a mindset is that never let it happen to you that technology is going to replace HR mindset. Yeah, and there are multiple case studies floating around on internet. You can go and find those case studies. One of the case study which I remember is about online shopping giant, say A. You know, they developed interviewing or recruitment model, and it was trained on all men. Specifically dominated, the AI model was dominated by men. And when this AI model started screening the CVs, it naturally was screening it was gender biased. Now, this act of technology, this act of AI was caught by an ordinary human being like you and me. Therefore, this tendency of leaving everything to AI, to technology, may be harmful in days to come, and you need to keep on improving, as he said, your own mindset and change management skills.
Probably I'll give you more precise answer to this. And just continuing to what both my panelists have said, it is about adaptability. How much adaptable you are. There are research papers that I've published, and you can refer to them. It talks about career adaptability. And I'll give you a working model to that. So you can exactly measure how much you are adaptable. There are tools and scales to measure that. And it has typically these subcomponents, which are how much curious are you, how much concerned are you, how much in control do you feel of what is happening. And based on these components, typically, you charter your career in a particular manner. So look at the career construct theory, career adaptability theories, and then look at that how much are you actually adaptable. You can actually measure how much you're adaptable. And and the journey that you want to take it forward. But adaptability, as my panelists have said, is the common theme that we are running here.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Vivek. And this adaptability theory is actually why Vivek mentioned that, because he's researching this theory in his PhD study, right? So that's coming from an experience, I would say. So over to you, Hardik. We are done. And in case there are any more questions, please connect with panelists offline after the session. Thank you.